All right, San Diego sports leader. It is the mighty 1090. So let's talk about the team in town that actually lived up to expectations this past weekend. That would be San Diego State football. Saturday night against Air Force, 27-24 the final score. San Diego State, the outright champs of the Mountain West Conference, on a heck of a winning streak there. Mountain West Conference championship game came to San Diego. Did not disappoint. Quality game. I'm sure it was nerve-wracking on the sideline. Let's say hello to the head coach of the Aztecs. He is Rocky Long. Rocky, congratulations.
Thanks, Darren. It was a lot of fun at the end of the game, and the team, I think, deserved it, but they got a lot of competition from the Air Force team that played as good and as hard as they can, too.
Absolutely. Would you have expected anything less from them?
No, not really. Deep down, I knew that was going to be the kind of game it was going to be, and I have great respect for what their kids stand for. I mean, what they stand for makes you know that it's going to be a hard-fought game, and they're going to play it to the end.
You know, I had mentioned this on Friday heading into the weekend. You know, they ask us to make predictions, and, none of us really know. We're not good at predicting the future. But I'd watched your team play over this 8-game winning streak here, rolling through the regular season undefeated in conference play, and a lot of times the margin of victory, it was double digits and sometimes upwards 20 points, 30 points at times. And I said to myself, I keep thinking at some point this team's going to get tested, and I'd like to see how it performs when it gets tested. Rocky, for you guys, early on, first quarter, whether it was a couple of penalties, couple turnovers, it seemed like everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong for you guys. So I wonder how much more satisfaction for you to play a game and win a game that was a little bit off script from what it had been from the previous 8 wins.
Well, I think that maybe as a team we're a little more proud of ourselves for being able to handle that. Like you said, when the game started and we drop a punt, I have visions of us dropping those punts early in the season and losing momentum, and I think that probably could have happened if we wouldn't have been quite as strong mentally as we are now. After winning a few games, you have a lot more confidence, and it went even worse than that. I mean, we get a touchdown called back. We give up a couple long runs where they get pretty easy scores, and it looks like everything's going against you, and it's going to be impossible to win. And somehow our team hung in there and kept playing and eventually won the game.
Absolutely. The adversity, I think, that you guys overcame Saturday night was certainly part of the storyline. For you on a personal level, Coach, I know you always are quick to talk about the team, both good and bad. But I'm just taking a quick peek here through your coaching resume, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you've ever had an outright Title I in your career. So how did it feel Saturday night to hoist the trophy? How did it then feel to wake up Sunday morning knowing that you were the outright champ of the Mountain West Conference?
Well, you're right. I've never been an outright champ as a head coach, and it's satisfying and it's a lot of fun. But I'm still, to this day, I'm still having a hard time believing it. I mean, it's you work all week long and it's routine. You go boom, 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 boom. Monday through Thursday, and on Friday you do this, and on Saturday you go play, and you hope you win. You hope you play well, and that's the way it is. And then the next day you go back to work. Well, after the game on Saturday, we were back in the office at 8:00 Sunday morning grading the film and all that, because we had our banquet last night, and it seemed like a normal week to me, and I'm having a hard time believing it happened. But the trophy's sitting out there in our lobby, so that's neat.
So you got up and you went to work. First thing, I was going to say, we're so often we talk about the X's and O's and about the games, and it's it's a business-like session here that we get to each and every week. And nothing different about Saturday night. When the lights were off, the stadium lights go dark, Rocky Long goes home. Nothing different about Saturday night? You didn't celebrate anyway?
Well, we did out in the parking lot, and we were there for a long time. So once we got home, though, we went to bed and came to work the next morning. A lot of things to do. We had to organize recruiting. We knew we were going to a bowl game. We had to work on our schedule for the bowl game. There was a lot of things to do. But Saturday after the game, thank goodness it was a late afternoon game, and we were out in that parking lot pretty early in the day, and we stayed there for a long time.
I like that. What was it? Maybe a fine wine, a red wine? What does Rocky Long enjoy? How does Rocky Long celebrate?
Well, no, I'm a beer guy, and it doesn't matter what kind.
Well, that's good, because there's a lot of different types in San Diego.
There are.
Coach, you're, I think we're talking to Rocky Long. San Diego State wins the Mountain West Conference Championship game Saturday night at Qualcomm, 27-24 over Air Force. One of the stories heading in, and as the game unfolded, it became about the early game adversity. but it was about your quarterback. And if you could, before the game, you had a chance to see him prep all week. Everybody knew he was playing in place of Max Smith. Christian Chapman's going to get the start. Here it is, the big stage. He's a kid from San Diego. What did you see in his eyes before you guys took the field?
Well, first of all, during practice, he performed really well during practice. So we had confidence that he was going to play pretty well. And he showed no signs of being nervous. I'm sure inside he was a little bit, but he showed no signs in pregame warm-ups. His face didn't show any signs. His body language didn't, and the way he warmed up didn't show any signs that he was nervous whatsoever. And we had pretty good confidence he was going to play well. Now, he exceeded what we thought he was going to do. I mean, he played so well. And we wouldn't have won the game if he didn't play that well, but it was unbelievable how well he played.
Absolutely. And for him, for a guy who probably came here, was part of the competition before the season started, how about just for him on a personal level to be able to play, represent his hometown university there in front of the hometown fans?
Well, I'm sure he's proud of himself, and I'm sure a lot of other people are proud of him, but the most important thing is are his teammates. And they're happy for him. They're excited for him, and I think they're pretty happy that he was there doing his thing. So he's gained some status amongst his teammates. He's got a good chance to be our starting quarterback from here on out, and it's nice to know you have a guy like that, young guy like that can perform.
Absolutely. Rocky Long joining us on San Diego Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090. You mentioned the week of practice. I know last week when we chatted, you chuckled at the idea that you had some sort of secret superpowers here against that type of offense. How did it go last week? You mentioned you had to take a refresher course on what it was that Air Force had to offer offensively. How did it go during the week there preparing for that unique brand of offense?
Well, the week went okay because the scout team doesn't run it near to the effect that the Air Force runs it. They run it very, very well. They've got a lot of things to go to if you give them some problems. And what happened in the game is what I expected. Our players played extremely hard. But if you don't have a couple of weeks or 6 or 7 days to get ready for it, you're going to make an assignment error or two. And when we made an assignment error, the fullback would pop for 60. If we made an assignment error on the quarterback, he went for another 50 or 60. The one that really gets to you is that makes you think that it's not your night is we actually did something really good and played it really well one time and caused a fumble. And the fumble got kicked down the field for 35 yards or something. And all we have to do is recover it, and we have momentum. Well, they recovered it, and that's one of those deals that you did everything right to stop the option, and they still get a 35-yard gain. You start wondering if that's your night.
Absolutely. There was a lot of different things like that. I mean, I'll throw another one at you, Coach, and that is trailing in the second half. You guys haven't done that a lot, at 17-10 there. Did you sense anything different on the sideline with your team? Because, again, that's just not a situation you guys had been in a couple of months.
I didn't feel anything there. I mean, we're pretty calm. As a coaching staff, we're a pretty calm group on the sidelines, and our team is like that too. I didn't sense any panic. I sensed some anxiety a little bit that we had to do something to make it right, but I didn't feel like we had lost confidence or panicking whatsoever. So, I had great belief our players are going to play hard to the bitter end, but you have to execute and make some plays to win it, and somehow they did it.
All right, Coach, so you find out the news officially yesterday. It had been somewhat discussed and somewhat reported last week that the likely destination for the Aztecs was going to be the Hawaii Bowl. This will be a game on December 24th. It's going to be against Cincinnati out of the AAC, the All-American Conference here. Your thoughts when you saw it officially here, San Diego State, Hawaii Bowl against Cincinnati?
Well, even though this is our sixth bowl game in a row, the players, coaches, and people in this office, we don't take that stuff for granted. And we would have been happy going anywhere to a bowl game. But going to Hawaii, since we never treat the trips to Hawaii when we're actually playing during the season, we never treat them any different than any other game. I'm sure the players are excited about actually getting to go to Hawaii and having a little bit of fun and seeing what it's all about before we have to actually play a game. So I think our team is real excited about doing it, and we have a good opponent. If you look up their statistics, they're unbelievable on offense. They're one of the best offenses in the country. So it's going to be a challenge, but we're going to have a good time, and I'm sure our team will play hard.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got a good quarterback, and you look at their schedule. I mean, it might be overwhelming. I think 7-5 overall, but they beat the University of Miami, which I'm sure our colleague Dan Sileo didn't forget about. You talked a little bit about the approach, and I went back and I referenced a conversation you and I had off the air. About your experience in the bowl games. Your approach to the bowl games. Will it be a similar approach this year? Do you want your players to go and have fun this year? Because and I'll just toss it out here. I'm looking at some of the rankings here. The AP poll has you guys at 30. The coaches poll has you guys at 28. A victory here, Coach, and I don't think it's delusional to suggest that you could finish the season inside of the top 25. So I wonder if there will be anything different about your approach to this bowl game this year.
No, we're going to approach it the same way. Now, we do have some incentives this year that we have not had in the past. One that you just mentioned, there's a chance we could be a top 25 team if we win this game. That's one incentive that I think our players will accept and like the idea that that's possibly going to happen. And I don't know how many years I've been told it's 38 years since a San Diego State team has ever won 11 games. And so there's an incentive there. And this team, they kind of live on those incentives. And I keep telling them they're a good football team, whether we win or lose. They've been a good football team, but if you're going to be a special football team, you got to win the championship. Well, they won the championship, so now I got to tell them if they want to be a top 25 team, they got to go win the bowl game, and hopefully that'll work.
Absolutely. I mean, that's not. I'm not being crazy. This isn't crazy talk, right? I mean, that's something here that is very realistically right in front of you guys if you win this game.
Oh, it is. It is. But there again, I don't want to approach it too much different because they've had a really good season and they deserve to have a little fun and I think we're mature enough to have a good time in Hawaii and still play well, and we'll find out on game day.
Well, hey, Coach, congratulations. Thrilling, enjoyable victory there on Saturday night. Final question for you, just in terms of, since I have you on here, the conference as a whole. Any thoughts on the way the conference, whether it's, the champs going to Hawaii, and I know that you're excited about the game, so I don't want to take away from that, or whether it's having to see Nevada, Colorado State. Any thoughts just on the way the Mountain West Conference gets treated here postseason-wise?
Well, I think it's, I think all the leagues that are not considered Power 5 leagues have the same issues. Now, this year we didn't have a team, but since they've changed things up a little bit, if we have a good enough football team, they get to play in the Fiesta Bowl or something like that, and that's a great incentive. Some of the other bowl things that have happened this year with the extra bowl games and 5 and 7 teams getting to go to bowl games has kind of messed up some of the contractual agreements that every league has. So our league is one of the non-Power 5 leagues that gets treated poorly sometimes. But in the other sense, if we would have won maybe one or two of those early games, we'd maybe be in the Peach Bowl or the Fiesta Bowl or something. So in order to join them, we just got to play better. And but when you get to a bowl game, it's a good deal for everybody there, and we're going to have a good time, and we're going to hopefully play well. And I want to thank you very much for always having us on every week. I appreciate it.
Well, hey, at 1-3, I will admit that we started to wonder. We started to wonder a little bit about what we were doing here, but we wanted to stick with you guys, at least getting into conference play. So, Coach, we're happy we did. We're happy for you guys up on the Mesa. Congratulations, outright conference championship on Saturday night. Congratulations to you, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, Darren. Thanks a lot.